warning. Stone cold like a Steve Austin. He jacking, I'm putting rappers in these coffins. He's acting like he got it, but he's lost it. Keep attacking these slackers that want to feed off me.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. This is your host, MagMongoSlade. So we got to talk about this whole ordeal with JR and Kenny Omega and so many other people who are now involved. So it all begins with an episode of Grilling JR, where JR says that I don't think there is anybody in the business better than Randy Orton. Okay, that's a paraphrase. And he says, I'm sure there's Kenny Omega fans out there that will say Omega is the best wrestler in the world. Some will, and they got a right to their opinion, and I'm not going to argue it. Omega is freaking good. In any event, it's a good time to be a fan. A lot of great talent out there, improving their game, adapting, and adding things. Jericho responded, in my opinion, Kenny Omega is the best wrestler in the world today. Others may feel differently, but I've been in the ring with everybody currently working on top, and there's nobody close. That's why Kenny is AEW champ, the most protected title in the biz. It's impossible to argue. It is, because the business is not about being protected. It's also not about in-ring work. It is about making money. Anyway, Kenny Omega says, I'd rather believe the bigot cuck, dimwit E-drones, and the guy that thinks I'm the WWE champion. All right, so it's obvious that he's talking about the bigot cuck. He's talking about Cornette. The dimwit E-drones, of course, are WWE fans. And the guy that believes I'm the WWE champion. It's based off of a mistake that JR made on Dynamite when he called him the WWE champion by mistake. So, first, we have to discuss this. I don't want to compare Randy Orton to Kenny Omega. To me, there's no comparison. Right? You know, Randy Orton has had a phenomenal run. There's nothing he has to prove in relation to Kenny Omega. Right? Now, if you want to ask my personal opinion, there's no competition between the two. You know, Randy Orton with his 10-minute headlocks or Kenny Omega with 400 knee strikes per match. I mean, which one do you really like? I mean, who knows? But of matches that I've sat and watched, and I watched a lot of Kenny Omega. I watched a lot of Randy Orton. Randy Orton is next level, especially when it comes to psychology and controlling the crowd and facial expressions and body language and character and personality. There's just not a question. The other thing I would give Kenny Omega is athleticism. He doesn't have Orton's charisma. He doesn't have his speaking ability. He doesn't have his comfort level. Kenny Omega is, 37 or something like that, and he's still kind of uncomfortable on the microphone. This is a guy who was the top guy in Japan, for a long time. He still comes across as pretty uncomfortable on the microphone. He's still very awkward. He's still very weird. But the shots that Kenny Omega took, of course, Jim Cornette's going to respond to the whole bigot cuck thing. I don't know what they mean by him being a bigot. He is kind of a bigot. He's bigoted towards Republicans, that's for sure. And non-Democrats, let's put it like that. But, of course, they think he hates women, which is probably the silliest thing in the world. And he admitted to being a cuck, so it is what it is on that. But Jim Ross, here's the thing. He should not be saying these things about Jim Ross. All right. There is something about Jim Ross being in AEW that is not working out, right? It is routine, like every couple of months, somebody is taking shots at JR. Now, people can say, well, Kenny Omega's in character, which, okay, if you're going to say he's in character, there's always the opportunity that if somebody did get offended, there's always that opportunity that, it's kayfabe, dog. It's kayfabe, baby. It's kayfabe, baby. I was kayfabing you. It's entirely possible he is kayfabing. But he still shouldn't put this stuff out there. He has to be smarter than that. He's got to be smarter than that. But too many guys have come out and said negative stuff about Jim Ross. If I was JR, man, he should... I said it before. Pretty sure I said it before. Jim Ross should have retired. I know he doesn't want to stay at home in an empty house because his wife passed. I know he, WWE didn't want to do anything with him. As far when they had him under contract, they wasn't bringing him to do documentaries and stuff like that, and his podcast and that kind of stuff, man. But it's like, Jesus, man. Every time I turn around, one of these kids is just like kicking cans at Jim Ross, and I don't like it. I think it's kind of weak, but what can you say? What can you say, really? And, it is, people are disagreeing. Now, Jericho, of course, is just being a homer. He has to say Kenny Omega is the best. What else he's going to say? Oh, no, I agree, Randy Orton is the best. It's like, who cares? Of course, Chris Jericho is going to put him over. That's the smart thing to do. That's the business. That's protecting the business. And to that point, Jim Ross probably shouldn't have said what he said. Like, was Jim Ross wrong for saying what he said? Not really. I think people are more wrong. Like, Conrad shouldn't be asking. That's why when Conrad does his show with Bruce, they say they don't talk about current wrestling. Because of shit like this. But Conrad is a muckraker. And, of course, AEW is going to try to save face. And who better than Chris Jericho to put Kenny Omega over? But you have to be smart. Everybody here is being dumb. So it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll talk to you guys later.